Hello everybody, in this video I have some 6x8 scrapbooking to share with you. I have finally started working with the Simple Stories Vintage Ancestry collection and the 6x8 snap binder that I bought with it to make myself a sort of little family history album. So what I'm going to do in this video is make my sort of title pages. In the snap album you get 3 chipboard dividers, so because of that I decided to divide my album into 3 sections. I'm going to do one for my mum's side, one for my dad's side, and then one that's like the more current, so mum and dad together as it were, and children and grandchildren and that sort of thing. I'm actually going to work backwards, so I'm going to have at the front one for mum and dad and their wedding photo, and then put stuff in there like me and my siblings and nieces and nephews and stuff like that. And then, yeah, as I said, work backwards, so there'll be a page for, well, a title page with a picture of my maternal grandparents and that family name, and that'll be for the next little section for that side, and then another divider or title page with my paternal grandparents and that family name and all that lot. So what I'm doing is covering each of the chipboard pieces, just tracing around them and covering them with a patterned paper from the collection on the front, and then using some of these sort of plain lined pages that came with the album on the back. This one here has sort of, it's almost like an index, so I haven't decided yet, so I might use that as an index to say who is on every page in the album. As I said, I don't know, I haven't decided, we'll see how it goes. I'm using Vintage Photo Distress Oxide a lot in this video just to go around things. It looks really lovely. As you can see on the back, I haven't covered up the tab on the chipboard, so I went around it with the Vintage Photo, and that on the chipboard looks absolutely gorgeous, so I'm just going to leave that as it is. So again, I'm going to do this for the other 2 title pages or dividers. Choose a paper, trace around the chipboard, and then glue it on, and then on the back add one of those more, I think there's a lined page, a dot grid page, and a square page. So just having those on the back. As I said, I'm not completely decided what I'll do with those yet, whether I'll use them as a scrapbook page and put photos and a general layout on it, or if I use them as more indexy things and have more written stuff. I haven't decided yet. We'll figure it out as we go. But as I said, yes, I am gluing those on the front, putting the simple paper on the back, and going around everything with the Vintage Photo. As I said, it does look really gorgeous on those chipboard tabs. Hopefully you'll see in a second. So I have printed off so many photos to put in this album that as I was doing this the other day, I thought, I am not going to have enough product for all of the photos that I've printed off. And I might not, I don't know for sure, but so as I'm doing this, I have a basket, which you may have seen at the beginning, that I'm putting all the stuff for this project in. And as I use things, for example, as I was doing this, I saw some other bits and pieces that I thought matched quite well. So as I go through, more and more stuff is getting added to that basket. So I am extending my collection a little bit. I've also got an AB Studio, or it might be Minte, I can't remember, one of those collections that has lots of sort of like vintage copies of old marriage certificates and stuff, so I may bring that in later on if I need to, but we'll wait and see how it goes and what I need to bring in. As I said, I've just printed off so many photos. I really thought I didn't have many like family photos, especially for older family members, but as I said, I've got way more than I thought. And I also, on my dad's side, have some copies and even some originals of old marriage certificates and birth certificates, so I'm gonna scan those and put versions of that in. I even have a marriage certificate from 1856 on my dad's side, so I'm quite excited to bring those in. Anyways, talking about what I'm doing, so this is back to that first cover page. I printed out a picture from my parents' wedding, quite large, so it would be very much the focal point for this cover. I wanted to use the chipboard frames from the collection because I just love the chipboard frames that come in Simple Stories vintage collections. Actually, I think they've started doing them in the other ones as well. Anyway, that's by the by. The frame didn't work for the whole photo. The whole photo was too big, so I cut off one side of the frame, and I was just going to leave it like that, but the way it was kind of awkwardly hovering above my dad's head and almost like pointing to his head, so I chopped it down a little bit more. I backed my photo on this contrasting red paper, but then again, it was that top of the frame didn't look right at all. Again, it was just awkwardly hovering above my dad's head, and it just looked clunky and awkward, so I'm going to chop that down even more in a second. Distress the edges of that backing paper, added the vintage photo, of course, because I'm just going to do that all the time for this entire project, add vintage photo to everything. This cover page is actually really simple. I'm only going to have that half a chipboard frame and add a title and a couple of little bits of washi around the photo to add, you know, little areas of interest, but the photo was large enough. I didn't want to detract away from it by adding too many embellishments and stuff, and I think it looks nicer when it's simple. One thing I will add that I didn't add in the video was I couldn't remember if my parents got married in 87 or 88, so I'm gonna have to double check that. I'm pretty sure it's 88, but I want to make sure before I stick it down. And I will probably use an old-fashioned Dymo label maker to put that date on there. I just think that the Dymo label maker looks really nice with this collection. It has that same vintagey retro vibe. Pulling out that title sticker that says family. These are really sticky, the Simple Stories ones. They're much stickier than the American Crafts ones, but I am adding a few glossy accents to the back because it's kind of going over that chipboard frame, just to make sure it was really going to stick down. And that is it for that page. The other ones are going to get slightly more complex with more things added. So this is going to be the Asbury one, my mum's side. Please do not worry about me saying family names. I don't use my mother's maiden name for any passwords or anything. Nobody should in this day and age. That is information that is far too easy to find out. So as I said, I don't use any family names for stuff like that. Don't worry about it. But anyway, so there is this lovely picture of their wedding day. I did just skip a little bit of footage because I did a little bit of a whoopsie. I was texting or messaging at the same time and I left my phone in shot with like the messages flashing up. So for privacy reasons, I had to cut out a little bit of footage, but I decided on a frame to use. Well, I cut a frame in half. Actually, I backed that entire frame with some contrasting red paper, and then I've backed the photo as well with just a tiny border of black just to help it pop out from that red background. I'm going to stick that straight down onto the chipboard cover, and oh no, I wanted to add just a little bit of something, so I went through my doily stash. I have some red and brown ones, but they weren't working. I think they'll work in other layouts for this project, but I stuck with a simple white one for this page. It felt more weddingy, I think. So just a little white doily there. I am going to bring in some elements on this one that aren't from the collection, but I think I do that a little bit later on. I just wanted to get the family name down first. When I am using individual letter stickers or thickers to write longer words or like name words and stuff, I always start from the middle letters and then work outwards, so you know exactly where your title or name or whatever is going to go and how much space it's going to take up. Obviously, if it is a word like this one that has an even amount of letters, you start with the middle two. They are slightly wonky, but I'm going to do something actually off camera, but I'll tell you about it later on, that makes it look less wonky. And then I pulled out these little bits that say heritage, and then one that's kind of like a film strip to adding vintage photo around those. Of course, I should probably stop saying that. Just assume I'm using vintage photo around embellishments unless I say otherwise. I thought some stamping might look cute on this because it was quite a white plainer background. So grab my Case Craft Scripty font stamp that the ink was archival ink in sepia, and just a little bit of stamping here and there. Few embellishment stickers from the sticker book, and I thought I would leave it at that, but I wasn't too happy, so I thought let's add some flowers. These are from my stash. Those ones I'm using I think are from one of the V&A collections that Trimcraft did a few years ago. Those little tiny little delicate white ones or cream ones from Hobbycraft, and the other ones, the little red and the little grey, from the range, I believe. I'm gonna take those little cream ones because they've kind of got a little wooden centre, so I think they'll go quite cute with this whole collection. So they're going in the basket. Couple of pearls in the centre of the larger flowers, and to finish I'm going to add some splatters of gold. I used my Winsor & Newton gold drawing ink because it's a more vintagey gold colour than some of my other gold sprays and paints and things, so I'm probably going to use this throughout this album. It's a more, as I said, it's a more warmer, toned down vintagey gold. So this is going to be the page for the Fairbairn side. My photo there is my dad's parents' wedding, all the way back in 1946. I sometimes get people say to me when I do family history stuff that, are you sure you mean then? Because I say things like my great granddad died in the First World War, and they go, don't you mean the Second World War? I'm like, no, I know my own family history, thank you. My dad's parents were not old when they had him, but older than the average for, that time in the 40s. And then my parents were older when they had me, so that's why it's kind of worked out that way. So as I said, when I talk about family members dying in the Great War and it's only my great granddad, people seem to not believe me, and it's like, no, it's true, my granddad was born in 1916. Anyway, just a little side note there because it's a thing that irks me sometimes. Doing the same kind of thing, really, backing the photo, adding the frame. I did little strips of washi to make it look like it's almost being stuck on there with the washi, and doing the same thing with the family name and the stickers down the bottom. But I decided it looks like it's floating a bit, so just grabbing a ruler and a Sharpie pen and just doing a fake faux stitched little line, and I'm going to go back and do that on the other one, the Asbury one. And it just helps ground that title and not be so floaty, as I said. Gonna fussy cut this little thing out. I can't remember what it says, and I don't have the album on hand. Gathered Together, I think, which is obviously suitable for a wedding photo. I grabbed two of the little ornate frames from, there's an ephemera pack in this collection that is just little ornate frames, and I'm backing that larger piece with those. I think that looked kind of cute. I am going to bring in another colour of Distress Oxide in here. I thought I'd bring in some weathered wood because I had the blue backing the photo. I thought it would be nice if I had a little hint of blue in other places on the page as well. And obviously I have the blue that I've used for the family name. And a few blue butterfly stickers. You'll probably see a lot of butterflies for the Fairbairn side because my grandma Fairbairn just adores butterflies, so I always kind of bring in butterflies when it comes to her. And then some splatters of Distress Oxide spray in Speckled Egg. I didn't use Weathered Wood spray because I thought I had it. Turns out I don't, so whoopsie. And then I think with those splatters done, that is going to be it for my 3 little divider cover pages for my album. So there we go. Thank you so much for watching. I will leave the links in the description box. I have said before, I always get my Simple Stories products from the Organised Hedgehog. I am on her PR team, so I have a discount code for myself and then one for you to use too. But there's a video, she hasn't asked me to do it, I'm just doing it because I want to do it. I want to make my album. But yes, anyway, so hopefully there will be more videos of this album as I work on it coming soon. Let me know what you think. Have you done any scrapping of your family history or anything like that? I'd love to know. And yeah, that's going to be it from me. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.